Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a little story time about some horror stories that have happened to me as a therapist. Hopefully I don't regret making this video, but I thought it would be fun. And I was trying to think about some funny / horrifying stories that have happened to me. And I could actually think of like more stories than I thought I would be able to. So if you are interested in a story time that is related to being a therapist, just stick around. Hi, my name is Alyssa Powers, and I created this YouTube channel to teach you the things that grad school didn't so you can thrive as a mental health practitioner. If you like therapy and therapist-related content, please subscribe below. It helps my channel so much. Now, one caveat, obviously, is that these stories are more about me than about my clients because clearly there's confidentiality at play and I would never share a story about a specific client in a therapy setting. So just to know that obviously this is not some breach of ethics and I am quite aware, and honestly, I love my clients and I don't have many horror stories in the realm of sessions with them. I absolutely work with clients that I am very aligned with and love very much. But let's get into the first and honestly, the most horrifying story. And it was all such a blur. So let me set the scene. I'm 9 months pregnant. This is last May, and I am overdue with a baby boy who is big. He was measuring large the whole pregnancy. So I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go into labor because I'm gonna be giving birth to a 10-pound baby, and that is not gonna be fun for me. So it's sometime in May, probably May 15th, I would say. And I think that my water had broken, so I go to triage with my husband because we're doing all the things to try and get this baby out. I'm curb walking, I'm bouncing on the exercise ball, I'm trying to do birth hypnosis, I'm doing all the things. And it's not uncommon for women to go over their due date with their first babies. So just setting the scene, I'm in the waiting room at triage and I'm super puffy. Obviously, I'm 9 months pregnant. I am wearing my glasses. I'm just looking rough, okay? I get called back and to get checked. And instantly, I realize that it's one of my old clients calling me back. And so I start to panic because if you are a woman and you have been pregnant, you know that they're gonna do a cervical check. If you don't know what a cervical check is, just know it is quite the intimate experience. So I'm realizing that I know this person and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to say something. I'm gonna have to request a different nurse because I can't have my old client doing this intimate act. And all of that's going through my head. I'm trying to think okay, my last name is different. I obviously look really different. I have glasses on. I haven't seen this client in years. And luckily the ex-client who's just minding their business at their job puts me in a room, and it ends up being a doctor that comes and checks me and does everything, and I never have to see her again. But oh my gosh, the stress that caused me in a split second, because if you know anything about confidentiality, you're not supposed to acknowledge your clients if you see them out in public unless they acknowledge you. So if she was oh, hi, whatever, and said something that acknowledged me, I would have been okay, hi, not the setting you want to see a client in, right? But lo and behold, it was all okay. Crisis averted. I am very thankful. That would have been so awkward. And to be honest, I wasn't in the mindset of handling that super well, especially because I was so caught off guard. So that is my first horror story. And what are the odds that that would have happened to me? Now, my next horror story is more so about just getting a horrible, wild Google review. And I tried to find the review because I really wanted to read the whole thing because it was so incredibly unhinged. But let me set the scene. So obviously I own my own private practice. I have a Google My Business account where people can leave reviews. So I have done a really good job of building up my Google reviews from colleagues and just trusted people in the field that know me, because something else interesting about being a therapist is you can't ask your clients to leave you a review because it breaks their confidentiality. So if a client just went and left me a review, that would be fine because that's them deciding to do it, but I can't solicit them and say like, hey, leave me a review, because it obviously is connected to their Google account. It would have their name and identifying information. And counseling is meant to be private, especially, in that kind of context on the internet. So I've never asked a client to leave me a review. And to be honest, clients don't leave reviews. I don't think I've ever had a client leave me a review. And I'm okay with that, because the workaround and what we are allowed to do is to ask other professionals to leave us a review. Just like how on LinkedIn, people will say like, oh, I worked with them, they were great. Even on Psychology Today, you can see now you can endorse other therapists that you work with. So it's all kosher, it's not sketchy. I understand that it is different than like looking up a local restaurant or coffee shop. Clearly, those are people who are patrons of that place leaving reviews. So I do understand a little bit of where this woman was coming from. But she left me a review in all caps. And I found part of the review. Let me read it to you. She said, I'm very big on reviews. And the reviews here seem to be sponsored or very biased. And then she went on to like leave me a paragraph. Now, I was shocked and so upset when I got this, because it goes to my email. So I got this and was like, what the heck? Like, is this person mad because they tried to contact me and I didn't get back to them? Because to be honest, when I was on maternity leave, like I just set everything saying like, I'm on maternity leave. I didn't get back to anyone because I have a new baby. It's not time to do business. So I was like, is she mad? Like, did she really want to work with me? And I didn't get back to her. But no, this is someone I've never met, never called me, and never had contact with, just left me a 1-star review because they were mad that I had good Google reviews. And the whole paragraph was like in and out of caps. And I can empathize that she was someone probably looking for therapy. And I went and read some of her other reviews and she did seem like she was having a hard time. So like, all empathy to her, but don't take it out on my small business. I was so upset. And I actually had a bunch of my friends, I put it in the group chat, my friends group chat, and I was like, can you please report this as being like irrelevant? Because it truly was. Like if a client gave me a 1-star review and had reasons for it, obviously I wouldn't fight that. Like that is their right to do that. I would be so upset if a client did that. I would be so upset. But that is within their right. And of course, like there's nothing you can do. Google reviews are pretty much set in stone. You cannot edit them. The best you can do is like have a kind reply. I mean, you'll see old people on all kinds of businesses' websites say, give a 1-star review and say, never been here. It's like, oh my gosh, don't do that. So that was horrible. It did get taken down, and that is why I don't have access to it anymore. And I couldn't find the full review, but I was shocked, I was shook, and I was horrified. Now, this last horror story is kind of more general. I used to work in a small college town where I actually went to grad school. And I, at the time, was not as seasoned as I am now. And what would happen to me a lot is that I would work with a client and then they would recommend either their boyfriend, girlfriend, roommate, best friend, whoever to come work with me too. And so I'm new in private practice. I'm trying to build up my caseload and I'm like, awesome, this is gonna be great. Like I already like this client, so hopefully I like this other person. Let me tell you, it's a terrible idea to work with people that are in the same social group, that are friends, that are related. I am only human, and you can only stay unbiased to a certain degree. I would often have clients who would come in, they'd be roommates, for instance, and then they would have a huge falling out and they wouldn't be friends anymore, and they'd want to be processing that both in their session. And I'd be hearing both sides like, okay, and it's just hard to not take a side, because often in these circumstances, like, there was a clear-ish right and wrong. And of course, like, they're paying me for a service. I can try and stay as unbiased as possible, and I think I did, but I am only human. So I would say, don't work with people that are siblings, that are parent-child relationship, that are friends, that are dating, because unless you're doing like family therapy, couples counseling, it is not for me, and I will never make that mistake again. And that's why it's good to have a referral network. And honestly, sometimes it's hard for me to say no in those situations, because I love the client who's like, oh, my sister wants to get in with you. And I'm like, ugh, like, I would love to have two of you on my caseload. Not that they're the same person, but you know what I mean? Like, I would love that, but I want to give that original client space to be however they're gonna be, and not have to censor themselves, and not have to wonder, oh, well, what's my sister saying in her session? And what does Alyssa actually think about it? Like, you should not have to do that. You should feel like your therapist is 100% on your team. So I hope that you found this video funny / helpful / learn from my mistakes kind of vibe. I love being a therapist, but I will say some unique situations can come up, and we are not robots. We are only human. We have feelings and emotions too, and should be able to exist in this world comfortably as well. So I hope that if you like this video, you would subscribe and maybe leave a comment below if you have a horror story. I would be so curious, so please do that, and I will see you next time. Bye.